Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. It's your girl Temwa. There's no Anjola here today again because I'm continuing on from my birth story. So if you haven't watched my birth story, I'm going to link it up here. But thank you all so much for those of you who have watched it and have given so much love towards us having our little girl here. She is sleeping in her sleepy head at the moment. I'm not going to have her on our laps. On my lap. And I'm just going to be talking a little bit to you about the whole experience that happens after giving birth. There's so many videos here on YouTube about birth stories, but there's not enough about what happens after the baby comes out of your hoo-ha. It's not so pretty, and also, so many amazing things. It's such a learning opportunity, babies learning how to be in the world, and also this is my first child, so yeah, literally never done anything like that before, so I'm really excited to share this with you, and I hope it makes you feel more prepared than I did going into the experience. So yeah, let's go. So first things first, so many people have different ways of giving birth. So there is the natural birth, which is through the and then there's also a C-section that some people get, which is the surgical procedure to get the child out. But no matter what kind of birth you had, you all have to stay a little bit in the mother and baby unit, unless you gave birth at home. But if you're giving birth in hospital, then there is the mother and baby unit where they monitor you, they see how much you're bleeding. Yes, you bleed. Okay, this is a TMI video. So, you know how you went through 9 months of not having periods? It all comes in one day. No, it all comes in like 1 minute after you give birth, pretty much. It's really, really crazy and really gross. Here in the UK, we have the NHS, which is kind of like the general health service that you don't have to pay for. So we're not like America and all these other places where you have to pay for healthcare, or you could choose to if you want to go private. But NHS is just available for anyone. So I should have known just by that being on the label. But in the mother and baby unit, there was other mums with their babies as well who had given birth that day or maybe like days before, who had their section in the, how can I describe? So there's curtains which separate every mum and her baby. So it's not like you get your own room, you just get to relax and you have your own bathroom and whatever. You're in like kind of like a cubicle with six, well for me, and at the hospital that I went to, there were 6 other mums, and they'd all had whatever type of birth they've had, and then their babies were there as well. And because of coronavirus, whoever you had as a birth partner, for me, Anjola, could only come and visit at 3 p.m. So luckily I gave birth in the morning, so by the time it was around 3 p.m, I don't know why we stayed in the room for so long, in the labour room anyway, but by the time it was his visitation hour, we were at the mother and baby unit, so Anjola could stay for a little while I was there, which made me feel a little bit more comfortable, because when I got there I was like, where's my room? Meanwhile, there was no separate room for anybody. Literally everyone is put in the same place. Whether you have a screaming baby or a quiet baby, yeah, I'm gonna go into this later because that's part of my story too. You're all just in the same room, so when visitors come, just come and then close the curtain behind you, and then you're in your little, it's so teeny tiny, I don't even know how to describe it. It's literally like you have your bed, there's the baby's little swinging bassinet thing, and then there's curtains so close together so you can hear everybody's conversations. It's just, I was shocked. There's also one bathroom which is at the end of the 6 of this big room with everyone in it. There's a bathroom that everyone is sharing. I didn't go in there, yeah, and I'm so glad I had such a short hospital stay, because I felt okay with not showering until I got home, because yeah, it wasn't that pretty, it was not very nice. So it was nice to have Anjola and I just in the room with the baby for a little while when I first got to the unit, but when he had to leave, it was kind of like, whoa, okay, it's just me, new mum here with the baby, but it was so nice because baby was super calm, and just such a calm baby. I was just like, whoa, like, you're not gonna cry, is there anything to do? But she just wanted to sleep really, because as well as it being like a crazy experience for mummy, also for her, I'm sure it was just like, this is weird. So she was sleeping a lot, but I did have to come to that realization that, okay, this is it. Like I'm going to be left alone here to look after this baby. Because one thing I noticed in the hospital as well is that they really leave you to do your thing, like the most scary way, because literally just like they'll come over if you need help, but not in a way of they're not going to look after the child for you so you can like sleep and recover or whatever. It's like you do that as well as having the child, which is how it is in postpartum anyway. So this is kind of like the realness of it. It's not there's no time to ease in. Once the child is born, it's your child, and you really have to take responsibility for everything to do with them. Changing nappies, whether you've done it before or not, you're not going to call a nurse and be like, excuse me, come and change my child's nappy. They're not going to do it for you. Breastfeeding, if you choose to breastfeed, bottle feed, whatever, you have to make those decisions. You have to really lead the way in looking after your child, it's a lot after going through such an intense procedure to have to do that. So that's at the hospital. And again, guys, the disclaimer is, as you're seeing all these cute American videos about hospital bags and whatever, it's not a hotel. Just keep that in mind as you go, if you're going anytime soon or whenever you do. It's not super cute here in the UK unless you're going private. I don't know. So it's not a super cute experience, just so you know, but you can make it good for you. I think there's some things that are really good to bring, and there's other things that are super unnecessary. I don't know why I bought so many different pieces of loungewear. I think I would have just bought, and now in hindsight, maybe like more strappy dresses or something easy that you can just sleep in, move around in during the day, something that just works, that kind of thing. And maybe like a nursing pillow as well to prop baby up, because they're actually so small. You don't realize how small newborns are until like you're holding one. You're like, okay, teeny tiny things. So that also helps. So yeah, anyway, fast forward until coming home. So I actually stayed in hospital for just a day. Glory to God, because like I said, I wasn't really a fan of the experience. And also, during the night, we did not sleep. Like, the baby and I really did not sleep because of this curtain situation. There was other mothers with their babies, and their babies were screaming the place down in the middle of the night. And as soon as that happened, my baby was startled, flailing her hands in the air. This is the thing that newborns do all the time. It's like, anytime anything happens, when loud things happen, nothing. But when tiny things like, like maybe like a baby has started to cry a bit, like massive startle movements. So it kept waking her up, and then she wanted to be held and stuff. And so it was quite tough, but I still cherish that time because it made me realize that, okay, like after the experience, I said, I can do it on my own. I can look after her for a night on my own. So, but then I was still super happy to see Anjola when he came to pick me up. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Come collect this child. So when we got home, in fact, even on the journey there, we're like super careful. I could see Anjola's driving had changed, because usually during pregnancy, I was like, can you please slow down? I am carrying an infant within me. Like, we do not need the speed. But I just think that it really got real when we had the baby in the car. Like, he was like super slow. I was like, will we ever get home? This is the question. But when we finally got home, my mum was here to meet us, and she stayed for a few days. But she also brought my younger brother with her. So that was a situation. We were all in the house, and I tried to just think about what I need to do in order to feel comfortable at the time, because I need to recover but also get used to baby, and that's the dynamic. So like all the toilety things that I need as well, because there's a lot of recovery down there that needs to happen too. I didn't tear at all, thank God. And I don't even know how I didn't tear, because they do warn you that it being your first child is a big likelihood that would happen, and that means having stitches, and then that might need to take some time to heal. But because that wasn't the case, I felt a little bit better, but I still knew that there was a lot going on there, so I need to make sure I'm keeping tidy. I had like my little box with my mummy nappies. Yes, mums wear nappies, so the baby has her nappies, I have my nappies, because like I said, it's a whole bleeding situation down there. I did warn you that it's going to be TMI, so take it or leave it. Had the nappies. There's this thing called a peri bottle, where it's like you can put like cold water in it, and instead of using tissue, it's like you squirt down there, so then like it cleans the area. And what else is in my box? Some aloe vera as well for cooling. Lots of different bits and bobs that I was using just to try to get myself feeling back to normal. Also, there's a lot going on mentally. In fact, not long after you give birth, the hormone levels just dropped so dramatically. So I didn't feel any different. I felt quite strong, but I did feel kind of alert to any changes which could happen, which I think is always safe to do, because it's a real thing. It's not based on how strong you are. It's a biological thing. It is science. So so that's what was happening. But at the same time, before giving birth, we had prayed about it for a long time, that depression wouldn't be far, like there'll be no such thing named among us, and that there'll just be a really, having a child, there should be like an air of of gratefulness, like it's a blessing to the home. And we're just praying against like having depression cloud that in any way, because that's of the enemy. Anything that clouds the blessing of God or makes the blessing look like a curse, like it's not a good thing. So that's something that we prayed against, and like by the grace of God went through the whole period, and I haven't felt down. I haven't felt wayward in any type of way, which is great. But also one thing that I really wish was the case is having more support, because that's what you really need after giving birth to a child. It's not like you're failing to not be able to do everything yourself. And I had to tell myself that, because I'm such a person, like I always think that I can do everything by myself. If I can't do it, then it's like, okay, maybe I should try doing it this way, rather than just giving in and allowing someone to support me. So yeah, I told myself, okay, look, if you can't do something yourself, you're not failing, it's okay. So I was really grateful to have Anjola there, being super hands-on, changing nappies, not needing to be told to do things, because that's also something which I know a lot of people experience, having to like just feeling awkward telling people, okay, could you change baby for me? Could you grab this? Could you make dinner? Just having people who are proactive in that way is always super helpful, because there's too much going on for you to now think, okay, how can I give instruction to people? And also it being his child too, knowing that he has that mentality of, I am taking care of my child. You don't need to tell me. You don't need to ask me to do this for my own baby, which helps, because otherwise you just feel like, did I give birth to my own thing, and now I'm asking. Anyway, it's not my problem. And then my mum was here, like I said, so she was here going, cooking dinner, helping out with things around the house, which was awesome. But because she works as a nurse, she wasn't actually able to stay for a long time. In fact, on the first day home, she wasn't even at home during that night. She went to work. So we were literally in the deep end. We're like, okay, we have a newborn and it's just me and you, kid. So, but I think we managed okay. We managed okay that night, because we expected the unexpected. And I think that's like the massive underline underneath the whole postpartum period. Expect your baby not to fall into routine. Expect them to do kind of whatever they want for the first couple of weeks. Expect that you're not going to know what to do sometimes, and you might need to Google it, or you might need to text your health visitor or something. So I think that really it was a challenge for sure. It was a challenge trying to get used to not sleeping so much at night and changing nappies and getting up every 2 hours to feed the baby. This is also something that they don't tell you, how often you're gonna have to be feeding the child. It's not just having a crying baby that keeps you up at night, it's having to feed them. So for example, my baby I'm sure she would just happily sleep the whole time, but I had to keep waking her up, feeding, and that's a whole process, because you feed for a while, you need to burp, you need to keep them upright, then you put them back down, and then before you know it, the other 2 hours, another 2 hours is gone, and then you have to repeat the whole process again. So after the first week had gone by, my mum had to head back home. So that did make things a lot harder, because I would have loved for her to be here for weeks and weeks and just, teaching me how to look after a child, because it's like, I did not feel prepared for all of the new things. There's like a lot of new at the same time, which is pretty tricky. But I think having a very supportive partner really curbed that. Like it made it so much smoother because Anjola was going through the exact same thing, so we're kind of like bouncing off each other in what we needed to learn. We felt like, okay, yeah, like it is hard, but we're doing it. Like we're having to get on with it, and at least we're doing it together. So yeah, like daytimes were good, night times were mainly good. Yeah, apart from the night feeds, you know, like I said, having to get up all the time. But then there was this one night where baby was just not cooperating. It was so shocking because we were so used to a baby who sleeps like maybe 20 to 22 hours each day, like for a 24-hour period. She's asleep for the majority of it. And then there was this one night where she was just up, just like the entire night, and it was just the strangest thing ever. We're like, okay, I'm sure she's gonna be tired anytime soon and we'll be fine, and you know, we'll get back to sleeping. And it did not happen. And that's what I mean, expect the unexpected, because we were like, what on earth is happening here? But the things that helped us during that period was just to learn different techniques of how to soothe baby, because it wasn't the whole time where she was quiet. There was sometimes where she was crying as well, and it can really ring in your ears and make that postpartum period even more tricky, having a crying baby, because you kind of think, am I doing a bad job? Like, what is going on? What is wrong? Okay, I've changed the nappy, I've fed, I've done this. Okay, what is missing? And sometimes babies just want to cry. That's the only way they know how to communicate. But there is ways to soothe them. So yeah, like rocking motions. There was a time where we had, Anjola was walking up and down the stairs. That was his own technique. My technique in the initial times was just to feed. I was like, okay, you want a boob? I have boobs. let's make that happen. Which didn't always work. Actually, sometimes, in fact, there was this one time where I fed her, and then like literally straight afterwards, she was just looking at me, and we were just both looking at each other, and it was just very awkward because I was like, okay, you're meant to have fallen asleep by now, and yeah, it just did not happen. So yeah, like sometimes it can be really, really difficult when you expect your baby to do something that they've been doing the entire time and they decide not to. But now we feel like we've really conquered nights. She's only a month old, but she's doing so much better with sleeping because we are just massive advocates for swaddles. So the one that she uses at the moment is the Love to Dream one, which is great because she can keep her arms up, lots of room around the hips, but it still stops the startles. So it's the startles which can wake babies up. So if they like startle like this, like I was saying she was doing in the hospital the entire time, that is what keeps waking babies up, and then they feel alarmed, and then they're just awake, and now you have to fix it. But then having a swaddle means that she sleeps longer stretches. You don't need to worry too much about making movements or whatever, like that will disturb baby or whatever. It's all good because there is a swaddle. So yeah, that really does help. And babies really love to be close to the skin as well. That's very comforting for them. So now we've really taken to baby wearing. There's stretchy material that you can get where you can wrap baby up and then get on with things, which is really helpful. A massive part of the postpartum recovery period is obviously physically your body has gone through so much, and the change that happened from before being pregnant, and afterwards is just insane. After baby came out, it literally just felt like it was just flubby. Like I don't know how to describe it. It was just like empty, an empty pregnant belly. Literally, that's how it feels. And like even walking around, it was just like it was just space, and it's because like the womb has not gone back to its natural size. With time and with like breastfeeding, like it contracts and it goes back to its normal size, but that's a process. So it was so weird to me that like literally from that afternoon I was just like moving my stomach and it just felt like everything was super loose. So people who had just had normal vaginal birth, they would not they might be walking around straight away and they can literally feel it. For me, because I had the epidural, it took a little bit of a while, I suppose, to have the drugs come out of my body and to regain the feeling of my legs, because like I said, literally everything went numb. So after I regained the feeling and they took out the catheter, then that's when I was walking and I could literally feel that my body has really changed, and it was so strange. I know there's some people who literally it takes years for them to get back to whatever size they want to be or that they were before. Some people will never be that size again. So I kind of accepted that no matter what, how long it takes, like my body is still my body, and I have to just own whatever stage it's at. I mean, I've given birth to a whole human being, so I had to give myself that kind of grace. Even now, I have new back rolls that I've never had before. My stomach is not completely flat. I used to have like kind of like an athletic stomach without even trying, but now I'm gonna have to probably head to the gym, which is really gross. Yeah, so there's all of that as well, which is part of the picture. A lot of people hear about it a lot, you know, like having a lot of mums thinking about how they want to look, or you know, post-pregnancy belly and all of that. But I think to actually experience it, it's a worthwhile decision. I'm really glad that I made the decision to just say that I'm going to give myself the grace of time, that like my body has birthed someone, like it's not a small thing at all, and because of that I'm not going to be in any super rush to get back to things. I'm going to eat what I want, enjoy life a bit, and then maybe later set myself a bit of a challenge to get back to wherever, or to start exercising more, but not in a way of trying to be something that I'm not, or trying to pretend that I haven't gone through such an incredible process. So 2 things have really helped me along the way so far. So in the first month of having baby around, and one of the main things to me has been just keeping that sense of normalcy. So in our household, that's been like having more conversations with each other. So Anjola and I, when baby's sleeping, or when, you know, like when mum was around and was able to look after her, having those conversations and just being real on how things are making us feel, how we're getting on with the new roles, because even for men, they can go through depression after having a child. Any life junction, that there's that possibility of not feeling adequate, of kind of it changing the chemicals in your brain to not really like feel good. And I think being on top of that as a couple is really important, and he's been asking me almost every day how I'm feeling, and it's been really great, because it's helped me to have that checkup with myself of what is not making me feel so great, what's not very life-giving, how can I get better at this, or what do I need to ask for more support in. So that's been a massive hand, and also, like I said, doing things which make me feel a little bit more like myself. So looking into different blogs. I love Pinterest is my thing, I love it. So scrolling on Pinterest, or looking up my favorite pages on Instagram, you know, all these different random things which make me just feel like normal Temwa. Getting on with that during quiet moments has been super helpful as a pick-me-up. And another thing that has definitely helped me along the way has been just to not really depend on people's advice, I suppose. Because one thing I've noticed is that whether it's health professionals or aunties or who else, a lot of things are based on opinions on how maybe they brought up their child. Okay, you need to make sure that, in fact, during my my baby shower, one of my aunties said, you need to make sure you're bathing the baby at least 3 times a day. And then another one said, at least 2 times a day. And then my mum said, at least every day. And then the midwife said, oh, don't be bathing baby that often. You need to be bathing baby twice a week. So a lot of things are based on opinion, or, you know, whatever, however, whoever has raised their child. So I've learned how to not completely depend on that advice. Of course, listen to your doctors, listen to what people have to say, because it's foolishness to not seek advice. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So even with babies, it's the same. But trying not to take people's advice as gospel is really important. For me, as a believer, it's really to say hallelujah. So yeah, me as a believer, it's been really handy to just be praying through this period. So if there's things that I don't understand, if there's something that I feel like I need to learn and there's a million people saying different things about, I'll pray about it and then allow the Holy Spirit to teach me how to mother. Because God is the father, like God is the one who's given us this role. And like one thing that we've agreed as parents is that we're standing in this place and it's temporary. Everything is temporary in this life, but as we're parents, like we're here to steward our daughter through life. We're not her be all and end all. Our decisions don't change her entire world like that. It's God who actually orchestrates her life, but we're here as instruments and to steward what he is doing. So praying about the entire process has been a huge help. So yeah, just kind of deciding who you want to take advice from, what is important to you as a parent, not what whoever says should be important. And yeah, just own your journey. Every parent should own their motherhood and fatherhood journey because it's your own. And also owning your postpartum as well. You don't need to come up with a marvelous project. For example, sometimes you just need to take the time out to chill and get to know your child, and that's okay too. So yeah, that is it, guys. That has been my postpartum so far. I can't wait to catch up with you guys again, maybe after a couple of months of looking after baby, because every day is kind of different and I'm learning new things all the time. So yeah, I'm here to share the real stuff with you because I feel like people don't talk enough, and yeah, so I'm trying to save you guys from Googling as much as I did. But yeah, after this video, we're going to be having a huge celebration, woohoo, because we have reached 20,000 subscribers. So there's 20,000 of you who have subscribed to this channel, which is amazing. So thank you guys so much. To celebrate that, we're going to be doing a live Q&A, a quick fire Q&A. So posting lots of questions to us, and then we're going to be answering. So that's going to be, I suppose, a way of catching up. A lot has changed since the first time we did a Q&A, so it's definitely time for it. So we're here to hear all your questions and to answer them, and I think it'll be such a nice time just to hang out with you. The 20,000 of you, I don't think that many of you are going to join, but you know, it'll be great to see some of you guys on that. And yeah, and that will be our next video, and then after that we'll have Anjola talking about how it is like being a new dad. So we hear a lot of things, you know, us women, we like to talk generally, we like to vibe with each other, we share our experiences, but dads and men not so much. So yeah, Anjola's going to be sharing his side of the story, what it's been like being a new dad, what the postpartum period has been like, what he's learnt so far, and I hope you guys will be looking out for that. And yes, really looking forward to the content which is coming up. So yes, if you want to be part of that journey, like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Subscribing being the most important part, because I know there's a few of you who watch our videos religiously and you haven't subscribed. So we know you like our videos, but you haven't subscribed. So that's what you need to do next. But yeah, bring your bag, join the team, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. See you. Bye-bye.